Hi folks, in this tutorial I will talk about the import sub mechanism functionality in the Catia V5 program. What does it do? Uh, I recently was asked a question that by a YouTuber, which goes like this. If I have a main assembly with multiple sub-assemblies in it, for example, an aircraft with a landing gear, aileron, a stabilizer, these all have their own mechanisms, each with their own mechanism. Is it possible to create a main mechanism in the main assembly, the main aircraft assembly that can control the mechanism of the sub-assemblies from that top level? And the answer is yes. That is where the concept of import sub-mechanism needs to be employed, okay? And if you look at the DMU kinematic, there is a kinematics toolbar there, and one of the icons it says import sub-mechanisms like that, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. So basically, I'm going to do it in the context of very simple example, a product one, which is made of part one, part two, is prismatic joint right there. Product two, sub-assembly two, made of part three, part four, and it's a prismatic, it's a revolute joint. And what we like to do is to demonstrate the process for this example. So what I'm going to do is make product, sub-product or sub-assembly one, product one. And then uh, in the main assembly, blank assembly, I'm going to say paste it. But that's not good enough. If you paste this thing, the mechanism is not going to get transferred. That's where you need to do a import mechanism. So when you do that, notice that the assembly, the application, which is the mechanism for product one, is going to come with it. You can see that right here, the prismatic joint. And you repeat this thing for product two. And when you do that, you have a top level uh, mechanism consisting of two sub mechanisms like that, and then you can control it from here. Okay, and here's the help, and in case you need it, let's go ahead and do that. Dimensions are not important here. So here's product one. Immediately I save this thing. So file, save management. We want to avoid identical names because I'm going to put them in the same folder. And so I'm going to call product one, product one made of part one, part two, and then product two made of part three, part four. Okay, so save as. Okay, I have a folder here. Let's see now, desktop, right there. Product one is going to go in there. Say okay. Now we're going to insert our pieces, our parts. So insert new part in there. And this I'm going to call, this is going to be part one, as you can see. I don't have to worry about it. Double click on it. On a convenient plane, on that horizontal plane, I will sketch. Okay. Just a rectangle, like so. This is going to be the base of that track, basically. And add it. Very good. And then we're going to go all the way to the top, insert new part. I'm going to call this product two. Sorry, part two. It is part two. You can see that. That's good. That's good. And let's make it. So on a convenient plane, on that again on that horizontal plane, I will sketch the rectangle, which is going to be that block, eventually become prismatic joint. Exit and pad it. Fine. Okay. And now we're going to go all the way to top level and start creating our mechanism for this. So let me go to I am in DMU kinematic here, which is good. I'm going to create the joints manually. So let me first try to create a prismatic joint, right? A prismatic. Let me, yeah, prismatic, new mechanism, mechanism one. So it's going to be this line and that line. And how about this plane and that plane? Say, okay, there we are. Okay. Incidentally, let me let me also, because I don't have a fixed part here, I'm going to do that. I'm going to anchor this space. Good. Now degree of freedom 1, because this is a length-driven joint, double click on the prismatic. You can see that I say, let's go from 0 millimeter to, I don't know, maybe 30 millimeter. It doesn't matter because I don't pay attention to the dimensions here. So if I do the manual manual uh, sliding bar right there, we can see that it's a prismatic chart. Good. I mean, obviously you can change it so it goes in the other direction. It doesn't matter. Uh, okay, so let me actually change the range. I'm going to change it from here. So I go from 0 to how about going from 0 to maybe 60? Okay, now you can see it go further that way. If you want to flip the direction of this joint, where's the prismatic? Okay, flip it. Okay, good. That's better. Try it. Very good. Good. So now let's go ahead and save this thing. You're done here. So I'm going to click on the floppy. Everything is going to get saved in that folder. There is the product 1 made of part 1 and part 2. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to start second product. I'm going to call this thing product 2. Product 2. Okay. Let's save it in that same folder. File or anywhere you want. Save as that same folder, product number 2. Let's insert our first part. Insert new part in there. And I'm going to call this thing part 3. Right click properties. Part 3. Part 3. Okay. If you want the instance name to be changed to, which is not a bad idea, let me go ahead and do that. Properties right here. 3. Okay. Good. Let's make it. Double click on part 3 on that horizontal plane. I will sketch a circle right there. Exit. Add it. Fine. And then insert the next part, new part, call it part 4. Part 4. Okay, double click on it. On a convenient plane, on that horizontal plane, I will sketch, I know, something that looks like that arm. Exit. Pattern. Okay. All the way to the top. Let's create our mechanism here, a revolute joint, right? So you try to create a revolute joint. It says, well, first create your new mechanism. I'll call this new mechanism number 2. All right. And I'm going to select this line and that, not that one. Once you do that, unfortunately, okay, I'm on the axis of that. Yeah. A new mechanism number 2. This axis and that axis, this plane and that plane. So, okay, there we are. And this is obviously a single degree of freedom mechanism. You double click on it. Angle driven, we go from 0 to 360. And we can check it out right there. So I forgot to fix something. Forgot to fix the base. I'll fix this, otherwise you can't simulate it. Right there. Very good. And let's save everything. All the way to the top. Save everything. Okay, so I have a folder, product 1, part 1, part 2. Product 2, part 3, part 4. I'm going to close this. I'm going to start with the main assembly, overall assembly, which means just the product. And in it, I'm going to say insert existing component. Go find out where that thing was. It was a folder which was called, let me see that desktop. Where's my desktop? Desktop. There was a folder right there. Oops, not there. Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay, so product 1. When I say product 1, these are going to come with it. Okay, so it seems that I once again I screwed up in the naming, so I'm going to say automatic rename. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, you know what? Let me close this thing. I'll tell you what happened. Let me start with the product. Do not call it product 1 because there is already something called product 1. Let me rename this, and that was the issue. Properties, or call it product overall assembly, or product 3 if you want. Assembly, product 3 if you wish. Okay, say okay. And now insert the existing component in there. And there was this thing, product 1. We will not get that error message anymore. Right there. That's what we got. Now, do not forget, that's the whole key. Import the subassembly, because import the sub mechanism, because right now, if you look at it, the joints are not there. But if you say this, it says sub mechanism has been imported successfully, right there. You can see that right there. So one more time, go all the way to the top, insert exist component, this time product number 2. It's right there, but there are no joints. You click on the import mechanism, sub mechanism, and there we are. Okay, now you can see that these are both present. And if you want to animate, for example, manually, you click on that. You have 2 options, mechanism 1 or mechanism 2. If you do mechanism 1, this is a sliding bar for mechanism 1. If you want mechanism 2, there is a sliding bar for mechanism 2. If you're using the Catia 3D experience, you don't have to worry about this business of import sub-mechanism. All right, folks, so that wraps it up. Good luck.